So first, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I really appreciate it. Um, so for those of you on my channel, I'm talking with the lovely Lovie Simone, who is playing Selah Summers in the Amazon Prime movie Selah and the Spades, which hits Amazon Prime on this Friday. So welcome.
Hello.
First, I wanted to ask you to tell everyone about your character in the movie.
Okay, Selah Summers is a powerhouse. She is the head of the factions of the Spades faction. There's 5 factions in this boarding school. Like, it's underground. Very only student body knows what's going on, really. And in the Spades, like, my group kind of handles selling the drugs and the alcohol. And my character is very much known for being stern and stubborn, and she wants it her way or it's the highway.
So I actually had the chance to see the film, which I absolutely loved. And one of the things that truly stood out to me with Selah's character, really just the movie as a whole, is you really don't get to watch films with young Black students in a boarding school, yet alone a film where those Black students are actually the center of the entire film. They're not in the background, and kind of like the Caucasian characters, they're in the background this time.
My kind of thing, yeah. Because I definitely know, and I've experienced that, like, by like watching Zoe 101 growing up and seeing like that whole boarding school life and wanting to be a part of it so bad, but it never really resembled the experience that I would have went through kind of in that situation.
Exactly. So I wanted to know, what was it like actually, this movie is groundbreaking, to be honest. When I grew up, I never got to watch films, that starred someone who looks like me. I really think like the only high school movie that even comes to mind is kind of The Craft. And then, she still had to share that attention with other co-stars. So what was it like actually playing Selah?
Playing Selah, at first, like, approaching the role, it seemed like really intimidating because I'm still new to the acting world. So, like, for me, I've never been a lead, but, like, it's made to seem like it's this hard thing that you kind of got to carry everything and everyone on your back, this kind of situation. But when I went and filmed like Selah, it was kind of so easy to just be a part of like that story. It was just a story that we were all telling. So it wasn't really like overwhelming as I thought it was going to be playing Selah. So it allowed me to kind of like have time to like breathe and like say, okay, like, how can I like put myself in her mind, and how can I like just, be authentic. So it was just easier for me to do that because I didn't have that other pressure lingering in the background, which I loved.
Well, I find it interesting with Selah's is, typically, especially a young woman who is in such a powerful position and who really commands attention and has authority over others, we tend to see ourselves as young Black women kind of presented, as hard to deal with or very loud or very aggressive. And you never really get to see that with Selah. I mean, she's very cool, calm, and collected, but like, don't cross her.
Yeah.
There's gonna be some problems.
Yeah.
So was that intentional in the film?
Yes. A lot of the times during filming, Tyresha would say, you don't always have to like be loud and be aggressive and just like be like just manic. She says there's a lot more power in Selah's like stillness. That was the kind of person that she is. Like, everything is calculated and everything is coming from something, even down to like herself, like her being, like everything she is because of something. It was all calculated. Like, you see it in the movie with her mom, and like with how she has the relationship with Paloma, because she sees so much of like her younger self in her. So I just love playing characters like that.
So I do want to ask, because when I was watching this, I saw so many similarities between Selah and also to your character Zora from Greenleaf, as these women who they don't really want to let people in as to what they're internally dealing with. You can kind of tell that they've created this outside persona to kind of deal with the real world instead of dealing with, the real personal issues that kind of make them who they are. Do you feel like those two characters have similarities or?
I definitely feel like that is a similarity. I feel like they both have this false sense of like security up, like this power kind of thing, you know, as long as they know what to say to people, they'll be okay. Like as long as everyone stays in their lane, like it's fine. But as soon as like things like get cracked a little bit, it's like whoa, 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 whoa,
Right.
whoa. Like, I will say they're similar in that way, but I would say like their triggers are completely different. um Selah is not into relationships. Zora was very much into like all of her relationships. Selah, everyone was kind of dispensable. You know, it was kind of like you have to be like you have to have reason to be here. You know,
Right.
so I definitely feel like they're similar, but they're in the same spectrum, but on different sides.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So this movie centers around 5 factions at this boarding school, right? So I want to know, what faction do you see yourself actually being a part
You know, it changes by the day. Uh, but today, what faction am I feeling like? I Dang. I think today would be a spade day.
of? Okay.
Today would be very much spade day. A lot. I was going back and forth between like the spades and like the skins, because the skins they kind of do all the gambling and all the betting with every sport and everything during every season. So I was kind of gravitating towards that because like the money, but being a spade secures money and safety. So definitely a spade day.
So I wanted to know, this film not only centers around a Black woman, but also too, it's very rare when we actually get to have our stories told by Black women, yet alone films directed by Black women. So I wanted to know what your experience was like with the director for this film. Which is this your first like films like solely based on your character starring yourself? 'Cause I know
Yeah.
you. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
This is like it for me. I'm blessed because this situation was crazy, like how perfectly aligned. Because I always say like the way Tyresha directs is like it blends so well with like how I act and like how I take direction. So like with Tyresha, like during the scenes, she would kind of put you in this place where it was personal and you can kind of like see and like change, you know. So it was like the whole experience was like a life lesson, you know. And also I love saying the things that she wrote. You know, you can tell the difference when it's like written by someone else versus when it's written solely by one Black woman, because it was like so unapologetic. So like, this is what I think to myself sometimes, like make it make sense. So I loved every process, like of reading it to like going and acting it out, and also like getting her guidance, because like she's also the kind of director who, if I have like my feelings about something, we can have a discussion about it like just openly, and she'd
Mhm.
be like okay, yeah, 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 yeah. So it's just so it feels free. So that was really the perfect first like lead role position for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about our high school experiences, do you feel like your high school experience was similar or very much different from Selah's in the film? Of course, outside of, the faction selling drugs.
Yeah. Very much different. I was definitely Paloma in a lot of ways.
Okay.
I, in my high school, I went to high school, I mean middle school in Harlem. So when I went to high school in upstate New York, it was like a completely different shift for me. So kind of I just stayed low key to myself. I was like, listen, I don't want any drama with boys. I don't want any drama with girls. I'm just not here for it. So that's also how I was like Selah in a way too. I already knew. I was kind of hip to the whole like romantic scene, but then I was like chill like Paloma. So
Yes. Look, Selah was like, I'm protecting my energy. I don't have time, but to focus on. Yes. Um,
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the relationship between Selah and her mom, played by Gina Torres, in the film, because I find their relationship so interesting, because Selah always talks about not wanting to be controlled, and kind of how young women, at that age are always controlled. However, it seems in the film that she always wants to control everyone else because it's the one thing she can't do for herself.
Mhm.
So kind of, you know, what is your outlook on the relationship between her mom and the film?
I definitely feel like the relationship with her and her mom is like it directly affects her life at school and her just life outside of her home in general. I feel like she feels like helpless and she feels like she has no control. So I feel she has to overcompensate in another area that may end up being like self-destructive, you know, instead of like a healthy balance that could have been um, you know, out of like a good relationship if she had that with her mom. But I feel like not being able to be vulnerable also played into like Selah's problems as well. Like she couldn't really talk to her mom and like say how she really felt. So kind of she felt like she had to keep that to herself. And she has like a lot of like intense outbursts when like she's had to keep a lot to herself because that's when she gets quiet. You know, that's what Tyresha said. Like when she's getting quiet, like she's thinking or like some things like it's never nothing. The silence is never like just nothing. It's a lot of things are going on underneath. So yeah.
So I know that, so this premiered at Sundance in 2018. That was my first Sundance. So that was like really cool. And you've had a lot of films that you've been in that actually premiered at Sundance. Um, and now Amazon has acquired it. So, but I've heard that there are rumblings that there will be a TV series centered around Selah and Spades. Can you talk about it? Can you not?
Well, I've been hearing that as well. I do think that that is a thing, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be in it, only because Selah was a senior, so it might just take on the factions. So,
Gotcha. Okay. Well, can you tell me any like fun, you know, memorable experiences that you had while filming Selah and the Spades?
I mean, the whole process was kind of like just like that fun memory for me. It was kind of like being at summer camp and not being on a set, you know, everybody was kind of very close. We all had lunch together in like this school cafeteria. And whenever it was someone's birthday, we would all bring like cakes and sing to them. And it was just like a whole bunch of just like good energy on set. I remember like being up until like 4 to 6 in the morning, like with Jarrell and Celeste, and we'd be like delirious, laughing like so hard, like, we can't do one more take. We can't do one more take. And they say action, and we're like, so that was just that. The whole process was amazing for me.
So what message do you want to leave audiences with after they watch Selah and the Spades?
I would want to leave audience. I would say to treat control as if it were a bar of soap, and like know that the more you try and like grasp it and get a hold of it, like the more of a chance it has of just slipping out of your hands. So that's it.
Okay, you want to give everybody a word today? I like. I'm gonna have to steal that. Well, Lovie, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. Everyone, make sure you go check out Selah and the Spades on Amazon Prime this Friday. You will not be disappointed. Thank you so much, Lovie. I appreciate you.
Talking to you.
It was so great talking to you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.